Have you heard the adage, if you try to be everything to everyone, you won't be anything to anyone? And the problem is I still see or hear funeral homes using the line, serving all faiths. But with that message, when it's received by an individual who is either probably a particular faith or no faith at all, but they are not all faiths. There's no connection. So on today's episode, we're going to be talking about how we can use hidden landing pages on your funeral home or cremation website to market directly to specific markets.
Welcome to Strategy Talks by Funeral Results Marketing, where funeral professionals discover the latest marketing strategies that get results. Now join Robin Heppel and Brian Young as they share their insights and experiences to help you and your firm during these ever-changing times in the funeral profession.
Welcome to another episode of the Strategy Talks by Funeral Results Marketing. Today we're going to be looking at a very important piece of marketing that doesn't get used so often here in the death care industry. We're going to be talking about hidden pages and how they play into the overall marketing plan. And most people don't even know what hidden pages are, let alone how to use them. So today we're going to talk with Robin Heppel. And Robin, I'd like to ask you to start out with here. Why are hidden pages an important marketing tool?
Well, thanks, Brian. First of all, when you're marketing to a specific audience, you don't want to drop them right onto your homepage because there's too much noise there. We've talked about this in the past. There could be 12 to 15 or even up to 20 different possibilities or messages on a funeral home's homepage. So if you're talking to a specific group, you want to continue that conversation with them on a page on your website. There's a great marketer from the 1900s, Robert Collier, and he said, you want to enter the conversation already going on in someone's mind. And this is where we can make the connection. So when we take someone, when we're marketing to a specific group and we put them onto our homepage, that's like phoning some support of your telecom company or your cable company and getting down the channel, and then all of a sudden you find yourself back up to the beginning operator and starting the same process again. Putting people on your homepage is just putting them back to the top of the queue. So we don't want this to happen. If we already know something about our market, then we want to take them down the funnel just a little bit further. And we've been using this now for 5 or 6 years, and we really encourage our clients to use these hidden pages. And it does allow them to then having that ongoing conversation with them. And what happens is when they land on that page, they feel more comfortable because it's congruent. There's an alignment of what the conversation was on whatever the advertisement was. And it just seems like this is the next logical step. The other thing too is with the hidden pages, you don't want to have dozens of links or on your main navigation of your website, because only a small percentage of those for each individual that's visiting your website, only 1 or 2 of those dozens and dozens of links would be applicable. So it's just better to hide all of them and get them there another way. And we'll talk about that in a minute. And the other reason why using hidden landing pages is important is that it's a great way to track your ads or your other marketing activities. And I don't think a lot of funeral homes and cremation providers actually use the power that they have with their website and with other online marketing, because out of any other type of marketing, this is, you can track this the most. Probably the next closest would be direct mail and getting survey cards back or reply cards back. But this you can find out a lot quicker and with a lot more exactness.
Well, that is interesting. So how about, can you explain a little bit more specifically, what are hidden landing pages?
Yeah, sure, Brian. Well, and there's 2 parts to that definition. So we've got hidden and we've got landing pages. First of all, the landing pages are the page that a visitor will land on after clicking on a specific link or typing in a specific URL. into their browser. And that's where they'll land on your website. And you can, in Google Analytics, you can actually drill down to the landing pages where people come into your site. And it doesn't have to mean that they're hidden or not, but that's where they're landing. And then you can also measure where they go from there. Now, obviously, the hidden part is that they are hidden from the main navigation of your website or the main call to action banners or buttons that you have. So a hidden landing page is a landing page that isn't part of the main navigation. And these can be used for tracking church ads. It can in church bulletins. It can be used for targeting specific groups. Maybe it's different fraternities or veterans. And you can also maybe use it for price shoppers, and we'll get into examples of all of those coming up. And depending on your website system, you should be able to create an unlimited number of pages and choose if you want them to be in your main navigation or not. All of our websites are built on the WordPress content management platform, and this allows you to accomplish creating hidden landing pages and unlimited number of them, just as long as you have a market like a niche market to market to and content to put on that page.
Okay, so that makes sense. More specifically then, how would a funeral home or a cremation provider use the hidden landing page? What's the process they want to go about? Sure.
So, well, first of all, and we kind of want to think, what's the end result in mind, and we want to make sure that all of our marketing that we track, that we get positive results with our marketing. So you want to make sure that you can track that. So everyone's website should have a analytics program installed. Usually Google Analytics, it's free. It used to cost $6,000, and then Google bought it and turned around and gave it free to people. So, and it's a great program. So that's where you want to. The first thing is you want to make sure that you can track this. Next, you want to identify your target market. So, and this can be in any of your advertising. When you're creating an ad, the first thing you need to do is figure out, well, who I'm going to market this to. Because as I mentioned earlier, you don't want to do it to all people. You want to be able to somehow segment that group so that you can have a more specific conversation with them, not just a general broad conversation where you're trying to speak to the masses through a megaphone. You want to speak directly one-on-one to people, and because that's how the message is being received. Even if there's thousands or tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of people, and you're sending out any marketing messages, it's being received one person at a time. So they're receiving it one person. And that's why we talk about making sure that when in our marketing, in our copy, we use words like you and your instead of, hey, all of you out there, we're having a one-on-one conversation. We're just having dozens or hundreds or thousands of one-on-one conversations with these people. So once we've identified that target market, we want to make sure that we then start the communication with them, and we're going to create some form of ad or somehow we're going to initiate that with a direct link to that landing page. So this could be in your church bulletin ads, it could be in your yellow pages, it could be on a billboard, it could be on Google AdWords, or even on Facebook. So let's drill into these in a little bit. So for your church bulletin ads, some funeral homes just feel that they're obligated to do that. But just think of in the Catholic parish there, and there's your ad. You've had that same ad there probably for years, and if it said, obviously or hopefully you don't have serving all faiths in your Catholic bulletin, Catholic Church bulletin ad. But you could say Catholic funeral and cremation experts, for information on how to plan your own, cremation or funeral service. Go to heppelfuneral.com/Catholic. And because probably before it was just a generic ad, probably if it even had the website in it, it would have just been heppelfuneral.com and not driving them, just driving them to the homepage. So now with the benefit of that ad then is there's a lot more curiosity with that ad. First of all, you're talking to them about, you're stating that you're experts in dealing with, in their faith. And I'm just using Catholics as an example. We'll then, once we get that one done, we're going to tackle all the other denominations that you serve. But to the person reading that, if they're Catholic, they're sitting there at, St. Mary's and, St. Mary's, parish, they're reading it. And then it says, even at the bottom, so it says, it's obviously a pro-Catholic ad. And then it says, for more information or to download, your information sheet, go to heppelfuneral.com/Catholic. Well, /Catholic is going to, really resonate with them. There's going to be some more curiosity there because that's something that they're really interested in. So you've got that benefit. Plus, that then can direct them to a specific page on your website. And you could then have, that page isn't going to be talking about all the other things that you do. It's going to be continuing on that message from that one ad and talk about, in this case, funeral services and cremation services that you offer for Catholics. If you really wanted to drill it down, you could do the same thing for specific parishes. So it could be /St. Andrews or /St. Patrick's. And that's going to, those people reading the ad are going to be very, curious, and they're also very vested with that, with St. Mary's or St. Patrick's. So they might just go there just to check out what you have. And, I know, some firms that have, they put the picture of the church there, maybe a picture of the, with a couple of the funeral directors with a funeral coach in front of the church. And, ideally, if you could get a picture with standing with the priest in front of their church, that would be because you're getting brands, you're kind of brand swapping, and it's almost like it's an implied endorsement. So then on that page, you would just continue to, talk about whatever your message was that you wanted them to do. And, in this case, it would be maybe pre-planning for their, for their service. And then once you have that dialed in for that church or that denomination, you could then, let's see about our Yellow Page ads. And if you still have Yellow Page ads, one thing that I think the reason why a lot of Yellow Page ads don't work, is because the messages are just, again, generic messages. They're not capturing attention and driving them to a specific page. And I've done this with clients where we've actually created separate landing pages and with a separate call tracking phone number, where we were able to see if the Yellow Page ad was beneficial or not. And they were actually comparing two different phone books. So then this was a year-long process, but in the long run, it really paid off because we found out two main things. One Yellow Page book was way better than the other. So, the following year they scrapped that, the one with less impact. And they also found that for most of the people that were calling, they were over 50% of them were Hispanic. So in their market, for some reason, the Hispanic community used the Yellow Pages more than English-speaking people. So they changed their Yellow Page ad to be like 50-50. Like before, it just said like in the bottom corner, like "Si Español," and now 50% of the ad is in Spanish. So, and this was, again, we were able to track this with the benefit of the call tracking number and the landing page. Same with a billboard. If you have a special, you could put a special domain name on the billboard, and you would then know where they came from. And you could even say, "Oh, you must, thanks for seeing our billboard," and then carry on the conversation. So it's just not, they're getting the sense of, hey, we're not just getting thrown back onto the homepage. This is they obviously have some intent because they landed there. Also with, online ads such as AdWords and Facebook ads. So with your AdWords, you've got it in your different groups. If they're searching funeral terms, or they're searching cremation terms, are they searching funeral costs or just funeral homes, or are they searching cremation services or cremation costs? So you should have actually at least 4 separate landing pages for those separate campaigns and ad groups. And then also with Facebook ads, with your Facebook ads, you can really drill things down. So you could have, if you're marketing to females, then you don't have to tell them, but that ad for the females that's going to a particular page. So you could write it in a way knowing that it's a female. And then you could have a similar ad for males. And then when they land on that landing page, it's going to be, you're going to be talking to a male. And, you can even chop this up further for marital status, for age groups. So there's lots of things that you can do with the knowledge that you have of where or how that ad is appearing, that you've got that inside information, who they are, so you can carry on that specific conversation on your landing page. So those are just examples of using it from an ad perspective of driving people from an ad, whether offline or online, to your specific page. And you can, when you're using especially in print, in your church bulletin ads, so that /Catholic, you can actually add some tracking code to that. There is a tool, Google, it's called the URL Builder tool, and it actually tacks on a little bit of code to the end of your link. And I'll create a little demo of how this works below this episode, so you can actually see how to create a tracking link. But what that'll tell you then is not only if they landed on that main page, because maybe you're using that page for a number of different, like maybe that Catholic page is going to it's in 5 different Catholic church bulletins. So you could track each one of those church bulletins to see, hey, more people are coming from St. Andrew's than from St. Mary's. And once you have those mechanics, you obviously want to have your landing page. So you're going to create your landing page with the content, educating them, and then at the bottom of that or throughout that page, you want to have a call to action where they can interact with you, whether it's calling you, filling out a registration form. Maybe it's for a pre-planning event, or maybe it's just like a free membership form if it's a cremation site, or maybe it's going to be start them on filling out a pre-planning form. You want to have some call to action so that you can track that, what we would call a conversion, that at least they took that next logical step. And then with all that, once that's all done, periodically track your results. So that is kind of how that would transpire of doing that. And we will put a checklist together so you can come to the page. We actually have a link, like a short link that we can use. So it will be funeralresults.com/6, the number 6, and that'll take you right to this episode. And it will, you can then download that form here.
So what other applications are there for hidden landing pages besides those that you've just shared with us, Rob?
Yeah. So you can use hidden landing pages it doesn't always have to be driven from a particular ad. You could use this even over the phone. So say if you had like a price shopper on the phone, and maybe you're a traditional funeral home, and you're not the lowest priced funeral home in the market. So you may not want to have your prices online, although I think you should have them available to everyone. But this is a way that you could put them online, and what you could do though is have them on a hidden page where, say, if you were on the phone with someone, you could then easily direct them to that page, and so they could see it. But people just kind of navigating through the website may not find that. So that's just another strategy where, and maybe you have 2 or 3 pages that you use if you have someone on a price shopper on the phone. If you're saying, thanks for your inquiry. Sure, I can get you prices now before I get that. I just want to ask you a few questions. One thing, do you have internet access? Are you in front of a computer? Oh yeah, sure. Because I don't know, like probably 95% of North America has access to computers now. Okay. Well, you know what? One thing you could do is you could go to our website, heppelfuneral.com/prices. And you know what? Right there, I could walk you through some of those prices. So right there, instead of just giving them your one, just a bottom line price, you sent them to a page. And now obviously that page is going to be crafted for the price shopper, and your content on that page would sure include prices, but maybe there's a little video there that explains your prices in detail, probably maybe longer than what you could do over the phone. Also, you could have other things that they could download, like we've created the funeral cost calculator or the cremation cost calculator, which is basically just a sheet with columns and rows, and it allows a shopper to easily compare apples to apples, and obviously worded it in the funeral home's favor. But it would be really hard to try to convey all that information over the phone. But if you were able to get them without sending them to the web page, but if you sent them to that hidden landing page, they could now, after they hang up with you, they're probably not going to click off that page. They've just hit this great resource with a lot of information, but it may not be for information that you want everyone to see. Another landing page that we've helped clients create is what we call a pre-meeting information page. And what this does is it kind of talks about what they're going to face when they come into the arrangement. So that you've already secured the first call, and basically you're going to let them know a little bit maybe of the agenda of what you're going to go over in the meeting. But you can also use this page to introduce some new products or service offerings that you have that they may not be aware of, because as we know, families don't experience a death very often. Maybe it's every 5, 10, 15 years, or maybe this is their first time ever. So we can't just assume that everyone knows what like a thumbprint jewelry is, or a memorial blanket, or even a celebration of life video. People may not know what those are. So this is a very easy way to introduce them to new services, so that when they come and make arrangements with the funeral director, after minute 90, when the funeral director knows that the manager owner is like, hey, did you give them every option? Well, this way, it's a lot easier to have the family say, oh, hey, Rob, can you tell me a little bit more about those memorial blankets, versus you having to introduce something that they've never seen before. But if they saw it on that landing page, they may have clicked on the link, read the little blurb about it. Maybe you have the video where it shows the loom creating the tribute blanket. So it's much easier for them to ask you information instead of you trying to offer that information. So those are just a couple of other ideas that you can use hidden landing pages for. They can be used for trying to reach out to all kinds of different groups. So, we talked about different denominations, but there's different fraternities or, the veterans. So for any of your veterans ads, you want them to be going to a specific veterans page. Now, maybe that page isn't hidden, but it can still be a landing page for your marketing. So hopefully that explanation gives you an idea of what hidden landing pages are, how you can put them into use, and start to really track your marketing. Because as you know, Brian and I here at Funeral Results Marketing, we're all about the results. So this is one step into making sure that you are at least getting some analytics, so you can see what kind of results that you're getting. And if you need any more help with this, we'd be happy to show you our funeral home websites or our cremation arrangement websites, and they're both ready to go with having unlimited landing pages that you can create to target all the different groups that you want to. And maybe you're happy with your current website, and that's fine. We can even create small little mini sites. I like to call them call winning sites. And they could just be maybe 5 to 10 pages. And this would be where you drive specific traffic to them. And it has a specific message, and it doesn't then necessarily have to be on your main website, where, a lot of funeral home websites are more of a community service with the grief help and with all the obituaries and condolences and, other educational information. So, we've done that as well. So if you're interested in those, just either you can contact Brian with just by email, or at brian@funeralresults.com, or give him a call. Now, we do have a little challenge for you today, and it's simple. Just the next time that you're penning out that your next ad, whether it's going to be when you're renewing your church ads, or your yellow pages, or if you're thinking of your, getting a billboard, think about, okay, I should direct this to a specific page because we know something about the people where we're putting that ad. Even if you're putting the ad in your general newspaper, the page that they land on can say, hey, thanks for seeing our ad here in the Victoria Times Colonist. And then blah, 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 blah. Then you continue on. So you already know that group of people must have come from, in this case, the readership of the newspaper. And we also have, just down below here, as I mentioned before, you can download our 7-point checklist on creating landing pages. So, but that wraps that up, Brian. So I'll turn it back over to you.
Well, thanks, Rob. And one of the things we like to share at the end of these calls is just a quick update on what's happening at Funeral Results Marketing. And we wanted to let you know about an upcoming conference. We're going to be doing a cremation conference in mid-September, it looks like, regarding growing a cremation business and increasing success in this internet era. It's going to be a 2-day conference. I'll just whet your appetite a little bit here. Day 1 is going to be all about the business and using real-life case studies and examples of what's working and what's not working. We'll be looking at things like how to profitably traverse the cremation revolution and how to successfully launch a cremation brand, and exploring cremation business models in use today, as well as new technology tools that have come out to improve the streamlining of those death care businesses and drop the overhead costs all the more. Then in day 2, we get into marketing a cremation business, and we'll talk about mastering the largest online advertising spaces on earth. That's a Rob Heppel special. Hope you'll join us for that one. We'll also talk about how to win with hospice, staying on top of the rapidly changing search engine optimization game, and delve into other things like content that impresses cremation shoppers, and importantly, maximizing website performance and ROI leads like a Fortune 500 company. So hopefully that whets your appetite just a little bit. And with that, I'll turn it back over to you, Rob.
Well, thanks, Brian. Yeah, we're really looking forward to for meeting the folks there in sunny Florida mid-September. I think it's going to be a great conference. And if you have a burning question about online marketing for your funeral home or your cremation business, just leave it here, and we'll try to answer it in an upcoming episode. And if you like what you're hearing, please leave a comment here on the website, or go to iTunes or Google Play and give us a rating and leave us a review. We'd love to hear your feedback. So thanks for spending time with us today. We know your time's valuable, and it's our goal for you to serve as many families as possible and to provide them with meaningful services. Make sure you check back soon for another episode of Strategy Talks by Funeral Results Marketing. Until the next episode, this has been Brian Young and Robin Heppel.
This has been another episode of Strategy Talks with Robin Heppel and Brian Young. To ask a question or leave a comment, visit funeralresultsmarketing.com/talks. To make sure that you never miss an episode, you can subscribe to this podcast for free on iTunes, Google Play, and Stitcher.